What's up, everybody, and welcome to Carpo's Auction. Today we're going to be auctioning off some amazing products that will help prevent the coronavirus. One of them being an N95 respirator and 3M8511 official respirator. We're going to start the bidding at $3,790. Anybody? Anybody? Alright, well, we got some alcohol. One bottle of 99% isopropyl alcohol. Going? 47 bucks? 47 bucks? Alright. I'm horrible at comedy, but hopefully I can cover this in a rational manner without sounding alarmist. Because I made a video yesterday about the coronavirus, and I've been sitting here all day. Not sitting here all day. I actually earlier went down to my local store, the Winco. That's like the Washington, Idaho, Nevada, Colorado, Oregon, I believe is what it stands for. And it's like our regional large grocer that you bag yourself, right? And I got up this morning and I read a couple of articles about, of course I've talked about this before, the face masks being out. And I bought these a few weeks back, and I remember the guy at the store looking at me funny because I was buying them at like 11 p.m. And I said, you know, you might want to get some if you plan on going out. Who knows? But I said these will be sold out soon. And everybody's pretty much looked at me funny. My friends have just, you know, the couple friends I've talked with, they've got their own opinions on the issue. Of course, one of my friends is like, hey man, cool, I'll just get what I need and stay at home. And that's kind of the attitude I have. Others aren't as worried about it. I'm not concerned about getting sick. I want to make this clear. I'm not concerned about whether or not I get this coronavirus, the COVID-19. I'm more concerned about the elderly, my neighbors, and what I found out about it, how it doesn't affect kids as much. It seems that kids can be carriers but show very few symptoms. And I'll tell you, I have 2 young kids and one 25-year-old. So there's quite a spread there, but my 25-year-old works in a workplace where he could be exposed. My wife works in a restaurant as a server, and my kids go to school. So, you know, my youngest. So here's the thing. I want to cover this issue of being prepared and what you might need and give you my take on this. When I got up this morning, my wife told me, oh, I guess there's a case in Oregon where a teacher was infected. And she was a teacher at Forest Hills Elementary, which I'd love to go into detail on the stories about this, but my friends and I used to go down to Forest Hills in the middle of the night, tripping on acid, and we'd play on the play structures and go up on the roof and sit there and talk about life. And it's just funny, you know, time passes. What is it, 30 years later? And yeah, it turns out one of the teachers had the virus. And now they're wondering who she had contact with, but she hadn't been in contact with anybody from China or anybody, she hadn't been to China herself. So I'm not saying that this virus is necessarily going to devastate the country or the world. What I'm looking at is the economic impact. I've made this clear on the last video, and so I'm kind of rubbing that in first to make sure that you know that I'm not doing this to be alarmist. I've been obsessed about conspiracies, about the end of the world, apocalypse shit since I was like, what, 17, 18. It was, I think, 1996, and I read Behold a Pale Horse, and it blew my mind. I think it was 94, and it was a book by William Cooper, who claimed the government was involved in aliens and all this shit, and people have either heard of it or not, but those who have know where I'm coming from. I was immersed in this world of conspiracies, and so when you're immersed in that world, you kind of expect that some shit's going to happen. Not because of anything anybody says in particular, but because you realize how fragile the economy is, the system, the society that we run. And it's even worse today than when that was written, because it's all run now on computers, electronics, right? Well, fortunately that has I don't want to go into too much of the technical aspect, but our connection, it can have advantages because people can work from home. They don't always have to go to the workplace, and that can prevent people from getting sick. But the issue isn't the virus itself. What it is the panic it puts into people. The stock market is already below where it was. It's hit bottom where it was in 2008. And that's not a good thing. So amidst all this, a lot of people are wondering, what should I do? should I go stock up on food? So I looked it up this morning and found out that in Hawaii, there was a line of 200 people waiting outside of Costco for their turn to shop. And then people lined up in the store waiting for pallets to be unloaded of toilet paper. I thought about this and I thought, this is Hawaii. But, which, you know, it's an island that's far out there and they have a different supply chain. They have to get their paper from elsewhere, right? Whereas a lot of places make their own. I guess in Japan, they're selling out on toilet paper because people are worried that it has to be imported from China, when in fact a lot of it's made in Japan, or most of it. Long story short, it doesn't matter. I thought, this is funny, people are fighting over toilet paper. There was actually an armed robbery in China for 600 rolls of toilet paper, I believe. Something worth like 250 something, $50 or something. It was just, to hear this, you think, man, people must be desperate. And then you see that in China, in order to control the population, they have to lock everything down. And you think, that's not going to work in America. Americans are not going to quarantine entire cities and just not do anything or leave home and be submitted to checkpoints every mile. So I think, well, if it does happen that there's a huge outbreak here, what am I going to do? And then this morning I read that the first person died from the virus in Washington. Oh, great, you know, up north of here. Should I be worried about one person dying? Instantly, a bunch of people will say, oh, you should be more worried about the flu virus. It kills as many people. Actually, it doesn't. Statistically, the flu virus kills 0.1% of the victims, are victims of it. But this could be 3% or more. And now there's reports that people have been reinfected after 2 weeks. There's one lady who got better, and then 2 weeks later she was back in the hospital again. She showed no signs. And she tested negative, then she showed signs again, and now they're starting to wonder. And all I'm saying is that it's very open for discussion. There are a lot of conspiracies out there, a lot of Alex Jones type douchebags that are going to tell you everything wrong about this. What you have to do is just be prepared with basic hygiene, right? Wash your hands, as I said before. But I'm sorry, I'm rambling on because it's kind of an exciting thing for me. I've actually prepared for these kind of things my whole life. I seem like a pretty peaceful, mellow dude, whatever. Or maybe I seem like an asshole. I don't know how I appear to you, but deep down inside, I've always welcomed these kinds of reality checks to society to say, wait a minute, not everything's going to be there. And so I looked up this morning, not only were there all these people waiting at Costco in Hawaii, but in southern Texas, I guess the shelves were completely bare of certain items. Then I found out that in Southern California, the items were bare of basic cleaning essential supplies. So I thought, maybe I'm being panicky, but I'm going to go to Winco and I'm going to pick up the basics. And I actually filmed it. I was going to put it on this video and just kind of show you what was in the store. But there was a sign up. I filmed this in the section where the hand sanitizer was. It was a big green and black sign that said, out of stock on long back order or temporary back order. Then I looked over in the small travel hand sanitizer. Of course, those were gone. But then, surprisingly enough, I looked in the section for alcohol, rubbing alcohol. Now, if you want to make your own hand sanitizer, you don't have to buy that gel shit. Here's the secret for my subscribers. Go down and buy a bottle of isopropyl alcohol, 70 or 90%. I use 99% because then I can mix it with whatever and it keeps it at a good percentage, right? Mix this with a little bit of aloe vera oil, or aloe vera gel, sorry. And you can even add a little bit of tea tree oil if you're not reactive. Somebody mentioned that some people might be susceptible to an allergy from tea tree oil, which I remember is it's rare, but it's basically it's like this. Tea tree oil can give you skin allergies and reactions if you put it on in its pure form, but if you dilute it, sometimes it's not as bad. Point being that I can't say for sure what's going to kill germs and be 100% effective, and I'm rambling on about this, but it's important to me. Just washing your hands and basic hygiene is really all you need. If you can't find hand sanitizer, make your own by mixing this with something else or putting it in a simple spray bottle. I went down and bought these 3 days ago, and when I was standing in line today, there was a lady who kept eyeballing my cart at Winco, And I could tell that she was looking at all the shit. I mean, I haven't bought this much stuff in a while. I spent not a lot, like $250, or 200, actually $90, including the most important most important asset of all, which was where was it? Oh, there we go. You've got to have the vodka. I'm sorry to say, but it was kind of the joke I was making. It's like you've got to have the basics and you've got to have the not so basics, but alcohol, if you're stuck at home for a long period of time, you'd be surprised how fast that shit sells out when something happens. But I'm sorry I'm rambling. In southern Texas, the shelves were sold out of a lot of items. In some parts of southern California, the same thing happened, and I thought, the best thing I can do is go now and look. So, as I said, hand sanitizer was out. I looked in the section for alcohol. It was completely out too, which was surprising. That means people are already buying up all the rubbing alcohol as well. And I went to a few other areas, and I bought these disinfecting wipes here. The cold medicine was almost gone. They had 2 packages left of these Clorox disinfecting wipes, which usually I don't use this shit. I usually use essential oils and whatnot, but I bought a 4-pack of these, and I thought, here's the thing, and this is really the point I wanted to make. A lot of government agencies are saying, don't panic. Don't go out and panic buy. You know, it's bad for the economy to go out and panic buy, or it's bad for others who might need the stuff, or that somehow by going out and buying the things you need, then you're, you know, panic buying. I call it complete bullshit. It's not panic buying. It's common sense. It's being aware. Every American should have a 2-week supply of food or more, and water, and ammo, whatever it is that's their thing. But people need to be aware that these things can happen at any time. The CDC, all different agencies are constantly, people say that, oh, the government doesn't tell us what we need to know and they keep us in the dark. But there are agencies that are consistently saying you should have this emergency food and water and supplies in case something happens. And whenever there's a natural disaster, people don't have the things they need to survive. They end up stuck on their rooftops with no food, no shelter, whatever it might be, whatever disaster it might be. And, you know, I'm going off base here, but I'm trying to get my thoughts together to make the main point here. The flu cases, interestingly enough, are dropping right now at the same rate as the coronavirus. And this is because people are more vigilant, because we've locked down huge areas. And like I said, Americans aren't going to voluntarily lock themselves down. So, as I was saying, when it comes to hoarding, you don't need to go out and buy a year's supply of hand sanitizer. That's stupid. That's not what people are doing. What they would have you believe is that people are going out and hoarding toilet paper, hand sanitizer, paper towels, all these things. People are not hoarding them. They're going out and buying what they need. And there is so little supply that's available on the regular basis because of what we call, it's called JIT, just in time. Just in time delivery is something you should look into if you're not aware of it. But basically all stores operate on JIT delivery now. And that means that they only get maybe a day's supply of food at a time. So if there's a run on the store, they're fucked. It's basically what's happened in the economy with the banks. If there's a run on the banks tomorrow and everybody's afraid of losing their money, then the banks don't have shit. They carry less than 1% of the cash that they have supposedly on hand. Trust me, if there's a huge economic downturn, you might have trouble getting your cash out, which is why I keep my money out if I can. I try to keep it in silver. I invest in things that at least I can trade because I don't trust electronics. I don't trust the electronic system to monitor my money for me. But when it comes to my own personal health, all I can do is take care of myself, take care of my family, make sure that I wash my hands, that my family washes their hands. And I'd like to make a note of that. Washing is different than using hand sanitizer, from what I understand. Hand sanitizer might kill a lot of the germs, but it doesn't get rid of some of them. Washing can rinse off a lot more, especially if you have really oily hands. But it really is the first-rate defense against this virus. It's not about, you know, what medicine you take. And it'll pass. It'll pass and the economy will falter. And really, my main concern here is not about my family getting it, at least not my nuclear family. My wife and I, we're not too worried about getting sick. I mean, it would suck, of course. My kids, apparently kids don't even get it that bad, which is even worse because they're carriers. But my mom, for example, she lives alone. I told her I'll bring her whatever she needs. My friend's mom, she's on a respirator right now. She's on oxygen. And I told him to be careful too. You know, everybody needs to be cautious, especially if you have older parents. You might end up bringing something over to them and not even be aware of it. And like I said, people have been carrying this around for weeks at a time and not even showing signs or symptoms. It's very strange what's going on. And I'm still not going to discount that it might be some kind of conspiracy, a government bug. All of that is distraction. Who gives a shit? Does it really matter who made it at this point? Shouldn't we be focused on it, like helping each other? Because what I wanted to make, the main point here, is that, like I said, not everybody who is prepping is doing it to be selfish or greedy. It's just that there's honestly, quite literally, not enough stuff for everybody at once to have a 2-week supply. And that's why people should prepare ahead of time for these things. I've got a lot of dried food, so I don't need to get any more. There used to be a whole bunch at Winco. It was gone. I didn't see a single 5-gallon bucket of prep food. People are buying shit out. People are smart because they know that there's not a lot of food out there. And we don't even have any huge major epidemics here. I read an article from Alaska. They said, of course, masks sold out like a month ago, but they said once the news up there said one thing about the virus, stores sold out of every single bottle of hand sanitizer in 24 hours. And so if you really want to just write it off and say, oh, you know, it's just whatever, you know, it's not a big deal, people are blowing it out of proportion, that's fine. Just have the basic things that you need for 2 weeks to be an intelligent human. So on the back of this note card right here, I made a couple things, my list, so I didn't forget, of a few of the things to get. Masks, sanitizer, wipes, goggles, cold medicine, cough drops, and isopropyl alcohol. All the same things I just said. Goggles seem a little extreme, but I happen to be privy to some information here. There's a dude named Carpo with a giant box of goggles that lives on his block. I bought these in, okay, I don't want to go into detail, but I have a giant box of goggles, probably like 50 pair. My original intention was to send these to what they call the water protectors, or the land protectors, if you will, at the Standing Rock tribe when they were standing up for water. The water rights, standing up for the oil pipeline. And we were going to send those goggles. We ordered those, a whole bunch of other things, rain jackets and stuff to protect them against tear gas. We never ended up sending them because they disbanded because it became winter and we ended up with this huge thing of goggles that we were going to send. And I never knew what to do with it. And I know what you're thinking. Some of you are cheering, going, right on! You were defending the Standing Rock tribe. And others are going, oh, fucking hippies, standing up for those goddamn Indians, trying to stand up for their water rights, or standing in the way of progress. And I'm not going to get into that debate. The point being, I have goggles here, and they do protect against various viruses and, you know, tear gas, if you will. So at least I'm prepared, you know, in that realm. When it comes to groceries, the first things are obviously beer and cannabis and medicines. That's a half joke. If you don't drink beer, if you don't drink alcohol, if you don't smoke cannabis, or if you don't have any particular medications that you need, then it's no big deal. But realize that if a lot of the stores shut down, you can't get your medication and you need something, say insulin, whatever it might be, get a couple months supply of your medicine if you can. That's probably the most crucial thing. I'm grateful that I don't have to take any medicine or else I die, you know, and a lot of people do. And they think that it'll always be available. And it's one of the things the CDC always recommends, is to always have at least a 2-month supply of your medicine. Some doctors will say, oh, you can't have more. And if it's opioids, you're probably right. But if it's something else like cancer medication or something that isn't abused, generally you can get a couple months supply, enough to tide you over. And the only other couple notes I had were, can you work from home with what you do? And what are the school plans for your local school? And that's pretty much all I got. You know, I'm not panicky, but I'm actually kind of excited. I'm hoping Americans wake up. I'm hoping Americans wake up to the fact that not everything we can take for granted. Not everything will be available for us every day. You can't just go down to the store and expect every product to always be there. On that note, I read an article when I was looking up some info about the virus. It said that it turned out to be an article from 2015 when there was a snowstorm in Portland. I think it was 15. And it said that during the snowstorm, right before the snowstorm, Portland sold out of kale. Kale! It became a national joke because we all know Portland's kind of the hipster community, right? Yeah, I can't disagree. I live here, you know, but it's just funny that Portland would sell out of kale, of all things, and it was this whole thing about how farmers need to be more aware, and you can't predict these things. What's going to run out when? So get what you like, whatever it might be. Fucking kale is no thanks, but if you like it, go stock up on it. I guess fresh veggies aren't the best thing to get if you need to stay indoors for a month, right? So make sure you get a lot of pasta, things like that, or whatever you eat. And yeah, hopefully nothing happens. Maybe it'll pass. I'll look back on this video and laugh. Oh, remember the COVID-19 coronavirus video I did? Oh, that was stupid. I hope so. But if not, then maybe we'll get a reality check. People will start like getting their shit together and being prepared for things better. I'm prepared. Are you? Peace.